Well, how about that? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday night. Friday night. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend, and thank you so much for joining me here. Of course, this is the Paranormal Portal, and I'm your host, Brent Thomas, as it says on your screen. That's me. So I'm here to walk you through the Paranormal Portal. Hopefully you'll come back with all your arms and limbs attached. I can't be held responsible. Just be careful out there. We're going in. Let's see what's going on tonight. Well, first of all, Sheldon won't be able to make it tonight. He's not feeling well. Or no, he's feeling fine. He had other plans. Don wasn't feeling well. Sheldon's fine. I got all these co-host, permission slips going through my head here. So Sheldon's had other plans pop up, and he's got to take care of some things tonight. So he won't be able to make it, but of course, we'll miss him. We always love having him here. By the way, everybody, I just want you to know, I talked to Portal Mom today, and she's doing good. She wanted to thank you all for the love and kindness, as you all are saying hello to her, and hoping she's doing well. She's doing pretty good. She's getting her feet back under her, so this is good. So thank you all for the love and support from my mom. She's mending well. God bless her. So we got a lot to get through tonight, as per usual. We got a few things, and we're going to do the news first of all, and then we're going to move on to a couple other stories. I got a couple of alien stories that I thought were pretty interesting that we're going to get into tonight. And I don't know, I think that we don't touch on it enough, and so we got to start hitting those more. And there's a ton of things out there, a ton of claims and experiences out there, as well as ideas and theories that are great to discuss. So we're going to dive into those after the news, and then we're going to get to, I guess we'll go to the Cryptid corner after that. So we'll get to what we get to, and we'll have a good time doing it. What we don't get to, we'll get to the next show. So there's this stuff is evergreen. Evergreen means it's always in season. So good to hear, Brent. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, she's doing good. Lucky Gypsy sending hearts to Portal Mom. Good. Thank you, guys. That's really sweet. She's on the mend. Yay, Portal Mom, Rachel says. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate that. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for all the love. That's wonderful. And I know she appreciates it a whole bunch. She really feels like, this is a family here. It's, not just a show with a bunch of people tuning in just to hang out. You guys have all become, in a sense, a family. And I realize it sounds, I don't know, some people may think that sounds kind of cheesy. Oh, sure, it's a family. But, you guys have been with me, and many of you for years and, years and years. And several of you for years. And it really does feel like this is a part of my home, so I don't mean that in just a cosmetic fashion. I mean it quite sincerely. You guys are a big part of my life. So thanks for being here. Chat's filling up. Yep. Quick. Hardwick says. Absolutely. I love it. The more, the merrier. We love when you guys pile in and come and say hello. And if you don't, if you're just out there lurking, that's okay too. You don't have to chat if it's not your thing. I know the chat moves pretty quickly sometimes, and so it's sometimes hard to have any kind of conversation. But yeah, I think it's a great thing, and I'm always thrilled with the community that we have here. So anyway, just a special thank you to all of you for being a part of my journey through the paranormal. So let's get congratulations. You've received 100 messages today with Restream. Really, I have. I gotta I use a platform to stream to both YouTube and Twitch, and then of course we're connected to TFR. And hello to all the TFR audience out there. Love you guys as well. TFR is actually the birthplace of the Paranormal Portal, and it is Truth Frequency Radio, and it is online at tfrlive.com. So check it out over there. There's lots of other great shows too, so you don't want to miss out. But yeah, I mean, we're broadcasting in several locations tonight, because when we're broadcasting on TFR, we're actually broadcasting on iHeartRadio on the TFR channel, and TuneIn and TalkStream Live also. So all three of those platforms are I guess carrying us. So oof, how's that for exposure, huh? Yeah, good. It's okay to lurk. Who said that? Lurking gherkin, John. John, good to see you here, John. Thank you, brother. All the gang is here. Well, they're coming. Yep, everybody's coming in the door. It's great to see everybody. Don't forget, y'all, click the like button. Absolutely, Cruzia. Thank you, brother, for the reminder. Great to see you as well. And to any who observe it, happy Imbolc. Of course, this is Imbolc yesterday and today. So, hope it was wonderful. And it's some saint day too. I forgot which saint, but happy Saint whomever day. I think it was Saint Germain, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, but whatever saint day it is, happy that day to you guys too. Again, that's just a terrible, it sounds terrible to say it like that. And I don't mean it in that way. It's just that sometimes words are just right out of my brain. And I guess it's a sign of the times for me. I don't know. I don't know how bad this is going to get, folks, but stick around. You'll find out. Here Rachel says she found 1 or 2 UFO audiobooks on YouTube. Oh, very cool. Yeah, that's wonderful. But they are public domain. Very good. Yeah, that'd be something cool to check out if you just like listening to things and catching some great stories. St. Valentine's Day, that's the 14th, I think, or at least I think it is. But what other day was it? I don't know if I think I closed the search. But that's another thing I forgot to do. I forgot to do that because it's new, and I'm not remembering these things quite yet. But let me refresh this and see what comes up for this day. Because we got a new segment on our news section, which is coming up next, and it's where we talk about this day in history. But unfortunately, I'm still getting the same freaking day, which is when it's still loading. Okay, we got to wait for it. Well, we'll see what pops up. We'll check back. We'll check back on that one. Sometimes my internet is pretty strained because, of course, the Minion's probably up there streaming some game, and the Missus is streaming something, and then I'm doing a stream, which is even more bandwidth intensive. So, yeah, I'm asking a lot of my connection. Even though I got a fiber connection, it's a good connection. I'm asking a lot of it. But we're doing good. We got a great connection here tonight. Everything's looking good. So, without further delay, let's get to the news and just get newsed. Let's get all newsed up, folks. See what we can find out. All right. Hang on. We're going in. Ladies and gentlemen, time for the news. And let me get the camera up so you can see me. I didn't launch man, this is going to be a habit. What is it? Second today, yeah. I forgot to launch the weather, which is actually the Ghost Radar. So let's launch that. So we know if there's any fronts moving in. All right. It's kind of dumb. Paranormal Portal, have you heard from Nacy lately? Yeah, actually, Hardwick, I just talked to him on the phone day before yesterday. Yeah, he's doing good. He's doing good. He's always out there. He's always out there doing his thing. He's a great guy. Mr. Kevin Shores, of course, of Minnesota, my old stomping grounds. Not actually. He's on the north. I'm from the southeastern part of the state. But yeah, Nacy is doing great. Thank you for asking. And yeah, doing wonderful. We'll have to get him back on here to do a co-hosting spot. In fact, maybe tonight would have been good since Sheldon couldn't make it. I didn't even think of that. Good idea. Good. See how we think together. I like that. All right, so welcome to the news desk. I, of course, am your host, Brant Thomas, your anchor, and we're going to get into some news stories here and find out just what the hell's going on in the world around us. And the first story up is from an amazing site, one that I can't encourage you enough to check out. In fact, all the sites we utilize on the during the course of any Paranormal Portal show. I hope you guys will support them, go and visit them, because a lot of these sites, again, are doing this on their own blood, sweat, and tears. And your traffic equals advertising money that they get from ads being displayed in the margins and stuff. So definitely help support that. Help support their work. The first one up, since it is also Groundhog Day, I guess we should talk about Groundhog Day in the form of this article. So again, it's Groundhog's Day again. What did Puxatawny Phil predict? I remember that movie too, with Puxatawny Phil. I wonder how many Puxatawny Phils there have been so far. I bet it's about 15 by now. I don't know how long they've been doing it, but it's got to be a pretty excessive number. The world famous rodent was at the center of this year's Groundhog Day celebration in Pennsylvania. The quirky event, which was immortalized in the Bill Murray 1993 comedy of the same name, is celebrated in February each year and is a tradition that dates back, I guess they're going to answer it, as far as the 18th century. There you have it. The whole thing is based on the idea that if the groundhog emerges from its burrow and sees its own shadow, then there will be 6 more weeks of winter. I don't know what the hell he saw this year. Let's find out. If it doesn't see its own shadow, then spring will come early. Yeah. It was overcast here. He wouldn't have seen any shadow. It was rainy all day. The most widely publicized example of the ceremony takes place in Pennsylvania, where the groundhog named Puxatawny Phil famously emerges from his home named Gobbler's Knob. Oh, jeez. That's I'm going to leave that lay there. Let's move on. This year, for the first time in 2 years, Phil did not see his shadow, meaning that spring will come early. That is, at least if you happen to believe that there's any significance to it. According to the National Centers for Environmental Information, Phil's predictions are typically correct around 40% of the time. Wow, that's better than the weather people. Even if you flip a coin, you'll still be right close to half the time, meteorologist Tim Roach told Live Science. That's a 50% accuracy rate, so you'd be better off flipping a coin than going by the groundhog's predictions. Yeah, well, there you go. I see there's a video attached, but yeah, I'm good. We'll just move along. So there you go. Early spring according to Puxatawny Phil, and I'm all for it, so good on you. Good on you, Phil. Way to roll. Way to play it. So there you have it. First news story. It's going to be an early spring, perhaps. Maybe. And if not, blame Phil. That's all I know. All right. So let's get to the next one, which is pretty creepy. I don't know. Well, let's read the article first, and then we'll talk about it. All right. So this one is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. And they bring us the article, Slender Man Attacker Seeks Release from Mental Health Institute. I bet she does. I wonder if this is one of those 2 girls that nearly killed another girl based upon them claiming they were told to by the Slender Man. I don't know. Crazy. Around 10 years ago, I don't mean crazy. Anyway, around 10 years ago, 2 schoolgirls critically wounded their classmate in an effort to appease the fictional entity. The incident, which made headline news back in 2014, saw Anissa Weir and Morgan Geyser, I should be able to pronounce that, who were both 12 at the time, lure one of their 6th grade classmates out to a wooded park in Wisconsin before stabbing her repeatedly with a knife. Oh, dear God, that poor child. The senseless attack was reportedly dedicated to Slender Man, a fictitious entity invented on the internet forum who typically appears as a very tall, thin individual with a black suit and no face. Geyser, who pleaded guilty to first-degree intentional homicide in 2018, was sent to Winnebago Mental Health Institute, where she was determined to be suffering from mental illness. Clearly. Weir, meanwhile, had also been sent to a mental health care facility, but was later released on the basis that she no longer represented a threat to the public. Now, according to reports, a new hearing is set to take place in April after Geyser, who is now 21, requested that the Waukesha County Circuit Judge Michael Boren grant her conditional release. This is the second time she has made such a request, having done the same in 2022 before withdrawing the petition a mere 2 months later. Whether the judge will deem her fit to be released, however, remains to be seen. A hearing will take place on April 10th through the 11th. Well, all right, so here's the thing. Obviously, it may be very well true that Slender Man was a creation, of somebody's imagination or whatever, but it doesn't mean that something couldn't have mimicked that. I don't know. I don't know if they saw visions of the thing, if they were hearing voices that were allegedly from the thing, or what the case was. I really don't know that much about it. It was just so disgusting. I was just like, oh God, you can. The paranormal is weird enough all by itself, but when stuff like this happens, it's really got to be demonic or something really nearly demonic. I don't know. Now there is mental illness, of course, and there is delusions, and people suffer from those all the time. Maybe not all the time, but they do suffer from them. There's no doubt that our minds are very powerful and can do some incredibly, deceiving things to ourselves. And so perhaps with enough belief in something, that it became real to them in some measure. And, that's really kind of creepy stuff, because it's hard to draw any distinction between, is this perhaps something done by an entity or energy or something, or principality of some sort, or is it just a fabrication of some twisted minds? There is, I don't know, being 12 nowadays, kids are exposed to an awful lot. I mean, they really are. There's not an enormous amount of supervision on what kids do and observe, especially in the wide, wide world of the internet. And I know some parents get the blockers and stuff, but I don't know. It's kind of scary sometimes. You really got to make sure to spend time with your kids and help shape their beliefs, because, man, if left to the wilds of the internet, you get stuff like this. And I'm not saying that that's what it is, just a fabrication of their own mind. It could be some nefarious entity attached to it. I don't know, but it's not something that our Western world readily accepts. And so it's considered a mental illness. And it may very well be. And it could possibly be not. So I don't know. I guess that's the story, and you can believe what you want about that. But I have no doubt that the Slender Man really is a fabrication. But there are some things about this, like just this image of this long-armed, blank-faced being in a dress, like a suit, not a dress, but being dressed up, and with these weird tentacles coming out. There are actually several stories out there that I bumped into over the years that have talked about seeing entities that have these weird, like almost smoky tendrils coming off them that seem to have a mind of their own, almost like a Medusa hair. It's, and I don't know, it's crazy. But anyway, at any rate, that's the story. Now, here in this depiction, I think this is not the usual depiction of Slender Man. I don't know that there's much talk of these tendrils coming off of him, but the rest of it seems to be pretty accurate as per the things that I've read about it, which is very limited. I don't waste my time with a lot of fictional stuff, obviously, because it's a waste of time. So, but there it is. That's the next story up on our newscast tonight. And I don't know what you think. Let me know in the comments. Do you think there could be something real that they experienced that made them do this? Or Do you think it was just some twisted mind stuff? I don't know. You be the judge. All right, let's get to the next one. And the next one, of course, is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Here's one that, there might have been some sightings of a smaller ape-like creature or monkey-like creature. And this was in Scotland, of all places, where you wouldn't expect to see a small monkey-like creature. But in this case, it's very normal explanation. And here it is. According to unexplained-mysteries.com, escaped monkey King Kong captured after 5-day chase. So it says a Japanese macaque that escaped from a wildlife park in Scotland had been given local authorities the runaround for days. Yeah, I suppose they wouldn't have any trouble with the snow. If there's one animal you don't expect to see in the remote forest of the Scottish Highlands, it's a monkey. Yet, for the better part of a week, one particularly mischievous Japanese macaque was spotted multiple times roaming around after escaping from the Highland Wildlife Park near Kincraig. Volunteers employed drones and cameras in an effort to track the animal down. The primate had been seen in the vicinity of the entrance to the park itself, as well as the back gardens of a nearby houses where he was spotted trying to get food from a bird feeder. Fortunately, he was not thought to have posed a danger to the public, but locals had been advised not to approach and to remove any food that they might have put out in their gardens. We're asking locals to please bring any obvious potential food sources like bird feeders and food waste inside we're hoping the monkey will return to the park if he can't find food elsewhere. The park's living collections operations manager Keith Gilchrist said at the time. As luck would have it, after 5 days on the run, the macaque was eventually recaptured after a local resident called the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland to let them know that she had seen him in her garden. Wildlife officials used a drone to spot the animal and then a tranquilizer dart to subdue him. Once back in the park, vets gave him a health checkup and plenty of food to eat. The macaque will likely be released back into his enclosure with the other monkeys soon. We want to thank everyone who's helped during the process, and we'll continue to share any further updates. Jeez. I don't know. Maybe they don't forage. I mean, they probably don't recognize a lot of the foods around, the northern world. I'm not sure how much snow the Scottish Highlands get, but could be significant. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe it's really not much as well. But yeah, there you have it. That one's explained. And, I wondered, they never really said how he got out. It's like, did they figure that part out? It's interesting to look at their eyes, though. Look at how part of their sclera is actually, it looks black, unless that's all, the tissues around the eye. That's very interesting. Huh. That's cool. Well, there you have it. That's an unusual story. Is it paranormal? No. But imagine the sightings that might have been coming in. Hey, there's a monkey in my backyard. I'm sure everybody in the area knew about it, though, since they had been looking for the thing for a while. And I got one more tonight. We kind of went a little heavy on the news tonight. Might be a light news day tomorrow, so just so you know. But here's the last story tonight, and it's 50 years on the strange case of the Betts mystery sphere. And here you go. See what you think about this. I remember hearing about this. This is pretty wild. It says a peculiar metallic sphere found by a family in Florida 50 years ago sparked claims that it could be an alien device. Well, maybe it could be. The story began all the way back in 1974 when the Betts family of Fort George Island, Florida, discovered a mysterious metal sphere after investigating the site of a brush fire near their home. Ooh, I wonder if that's what lit it up after it came in the atmosphere. Believing it to be a cannonball from some historic battle, they decided to keep it, but it soon became clear that the object, which was suspiciously pristine, was not what it seemed to be. According to reports, the family claimed that the sphere had started to behave peculiarly, reacting to guitar playing by emitting a throbbing noise and changing direction when being rolled across the floor. According to reports, the family claimed that the sphere had started to behave peculiarly. I already read that. No, sorry, I reread the same the same paragraph. Yeah, I'm a rookie. They even maintained that the sphere would follow people around the house on its own accord. Eventually, the U.S. military became involved and managed to get their hands on the sphere. What happened next, I wonder? According to one analysis, there were radio waves coming from it and a magnetic field around it. However, initial attempts to X-ray proved futile due to the metal being too thick to penetrate. Even UFO researcher J. Allen Hynek got a chance to examine it, but he, along with the military experts, all concluded that the object was most likely man-made. This didn't stop it being billed as an extraterrestrial device by the media, however. It was later discovered that the stainless steel sphere happened to be a perfect match for a component kept in stock by a Jacksonville equipment supply company. Its erratic movements, it was argued, were more likely to be a consequence of the uneven floor at the family's newly rebuilt house than due to any unusual properties of the sphere itself. Even so, to this day, the sphere continues to remain a topic of debate and intrigue. Well, I mean, what were the balls at the Jacksonville Equipment Supply Company? Were they some kind of big bearings or what? That's crazy. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Could they have found a missing, I don't know, alien probe, or is it just a ball bearing of some kind? Who knows? There it is. That's the Bet's Mystery Sphere. Just in case you hear about it, now you know. Maybe you didn't know that before, but now you know. So that is going to round up our news for tonight. I'm going to see if the what happened today in history actually loaded. Let's see. It's not. There we go. Let's see. There it is. Let's see if anything popped up. Oh, it timed out. Come on, really? It's mechanic. Yeah, okay, it did work. All right, well, let's get to this. There we go. Today in history, ladies and gentlemen, ban on African National Congress was lifted. There you go. What else happened? American actor Philip Seymour Hoffman died of a heroin overdose in New York City. That's not good. 1980 FBI's undercover criminal investigation known as Abscam was revealed to the public. It resulted in the convictions of various elected officials on the assertion of bribery and corruption charges. God, what would happen today? There'd be like 3 people left. 1979, Sid Vicious of the Sex Pistols, early proponents of British punk rock, died of a drug overdose as well in New York City. Not good either. 1971, Idi Amin declared himself president of Uganda. For the next 8 years, headed a regime that was noted for its brutality. Yikes. 1943, the Battle of Stalingrad of World War II ended. The German troops surrendered to the Soviets. And 1927, American jazz saxophonist Stan Getz was born. Frederick Rodman Law performer was considered the first motion picture stunt, parachuting from the Statue of Liberty. And 1905, Ayn Rand, American writer Ayn Rand, who was commercially successful novels, what happened, was born in St. Petersburg. Okay. And then Groundhog Day, the first one was in 1887. I guess we got the answer there, folks. 1876, National League, oldest existing major league professional baseball organization in the United States, began to play. Well, there you go. Oldest baseball team, 1876. United States and Mexico signed the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Not sure what that treaty said, but that was today. Today was the day it signed. And New Amsterdam, New York was incorporated as a city. There you have it, folks. That was this day in history. So now you know. You might not have known that before either. So that is going to wrap up the news, and we'll get back to the rest of the show. Oops, almost opened an ad by accident. All right, let's go back to the rest of the show. So for those of you that are on TFR and listening on maybe iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, you're probably just hearing the sound effects of laughing and clapping. There is music, but I can't get it to you. So that's why I fill it in with those sound effects. Because it makes some kind of noise when the silence is happening. That's my new theme song. I think I like it. All right, let's see what we got next here. Good to see everybody. Glad to see you guys coming in. The more the merrier, folks, because we got a lot of Portal to get through tonight. Tomorrow's news tomorrow with an Alex Jones voice. Oh, listen here. I think if I did an Alex Jones voice for the news, I would be dead for the rest of the show. I'd sound like it all the whole show. I'd be like this. This is Alex Jones. I don't think that sounds much like him, but thank you, do Homer. Not really. Not really. I'll probably get sued by somebody. You never know. I don't know how that works, but anyway. You missed the news, Barbara. That's all right. You can always watch the replay. It'll be available on YouTube. Or just drag the thing back in your player and you can watch where we've been. It hasn't been that long. We've only been going since, how long? About a half hour. It's a half hour. The show is a half hour old. So it's Imbolc today. Okay, basically the waking of the goddess of spring and summer. All right. I'm all for that. Wake her up. Let's go. Melt the rest of the... I mean, snow's actually melted. I think she wasn't sleeping good. She's been up a while. I think, because it's been warmer. Absolutely unseasonably beautiful here. Not sunny by any measure. It's been kind of drizzly and overcast and stuff, but as long as it's not snow, I'm good with it. I'm absolutely good with it. So let's see. What am I going to do now? What am I going to do? We're going to get to an article. And see what y'all think. The first one I want to get to, I got two articles pulled up. One is from Curiosmos. This is the first one we're going to read, curiosmos.com. And this is a site that's primarily authored by a gentleman named Ivan Petricevic. Petricevic, I think is how you pronounce his name. And the guy's brilliant. I mean, if he's writing all these articles, man, that guy's a machine. And really great information in these articles. So please check out curiosmos.com. Again, it's like curious with an O-O-S. Is that how you spell curious? No, there's no U. Okay, so it's just C-U-R-I, or C-U-R-I, rather, O-S-M-O-S.com. Curiosmos. This is a cool site. And we've talked about articles on this site before. But it's just chock full of UFO and information and alien information and ancient civilizations. And it's just got a great spectrum of information over there. And the next article we'll get to is kind of on the same, it's dealing with alien life on Earth, apparently. So we'll check that out next. So first up from Curiosmos is this one. All right, curiosmos.com. Former French intelligence officer speaks out about UFOs, parallel worlds, and alien life. Now, that's, it's from 2020, which is, now 4 years ago, if you can believe it. Does that seem possible? That wasn't locked down in 2020 and now it's been 4 years? What the hell? How do we get here? I don't know. That's weird. All right, let's go to this one. According to former French intelligence officer Alain, I don't know if you say Juliet, but I'll say Juliet, because I'm not French. The UFO phenomena escapes the terrestrial dimension.
Alphabet.
Really? It says alphabet. The ghost box said alphabet. I don't know what that means. Because I'm reading letters, maybe? Does that make sense? That's kind of creepy in a sense, right? I was reading the spelling and it said alphabet. Huh. Kind of correlates. Kind of. Alphabet, it said. Wow. All right. Donuts. All right. Everybody loves donuts, Barbara. Of course. Maggie says she's got twisties. I'm not sure what that means, but I think they make an ointment for that, Maggie. Sorry, I just couldn't resist. I don't think you were talking about something like that. It's just being stupid because, I am stupid. But anyway, you don't realize how much stuff I have to filter out that I can't say. But anyway, sorry if that's offensive. All right, let's get. I know the years have been passing much quicker these days. It's probably because we're so connected and in a bubble. It becomes a Groundhog Day. Yeah, it does, doesn't it, Ramon? Definitely. Ramon's a great musician, by the way, too, guys. He's a heck of a bass player. Really is. I love you too, Maggie. All right, so let's get to this article. It says a former director of French's Republic's foreign intelligence agency, Alain Juliet, spoke without reservations on a subject that for man is still a massive conspiracy, the UFO phenomena and alien life. With his vast experience, he promotes a pragmatic approach and an open mind to solve a mystery too important to be left to dogmatic believers and skeptics. Among politicians, scientists, and the military, Alain Juliet is one of the high-level speakers who contributes his point of view in a new documentary called UFOs, A Business of the States, directed by Dominique Filhol, I guess Filhol. There's a term that is repeated more and more often among specialists in the field. It is the idea of non-human intelligence. This term is interesting because it does not reject extraterrestrial hypothesis. Still, it includes other theories on the nature of the phenomena, summarizes Phil Hall, not Phil Hall. The name was not Phil Hall. That's my mistake. Jesus. Marked since childhood by spectacular testimonies from relatives who have observed inexplicable phenomena. Filming further reinforced his convictions. The phenomena has become palpable. I was lucky enough to film a meeting of the members of the Sigma 2 Commission that studies UFOs rigorously and scientifically. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know there was such a thing. Sigma 2. Very cool. The succession and testimonies and analysis in UFOs, a matter of states, reminds us that UFOs exist, at least as a subject of study, although their nature remains elusive. Hypotheses about the nature of these objects are not limited to an alien origin. Parallel worlds, time travelers, nothing can be ruled out. There is also a ufological current that investigates the links between consciousness and the UFO phenomena, which we addressed in the documentary, explained Phil Hall. In the case of close encounters, the phenomena seems to interact with the consciousness of the witness. This is also what certain U.S. Navy fighter pilots may have experienced. They have observed these phenomena, and curiously, these objects seem to be able to anticipate the pilot's reactions as if they could read their minds, he added. Yeah, there's no doubt, there's no question that there is a telepathic element to the UFO phenomena. I mean, when abductees are talked to, these aliens aren't like, "Hey, how you doing?" Moving their mouths. It's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I can't do the dummy thing, So that was me just thinking with my mind and making sound. Did it look convincing? Yeah, I think that it's been a long foregone conclusion that there is a telepathic element to it. And they definitely seem to be able to read what's going on in our heads. You've agreed to participate in Dominique Philhall's documentary, UFO Matter of States. Is this the first time you've spoken publicly about UFOs? So this is the interview part. And he says, yes, I participated in a meeting of aeronautic enthusiasts where the problem of unidentified objects was raised. I was in the room and answered some questions, but I had never before discussed the subject publicly. It was after an interview with the director, Dominique Philhall, that we addressed the issue. I wonder if it's Dominic or Dominique. I don't know. Anyway, he asked me 2 or 3 questions and said, I'm interested in this. I'm preparing something. And this is how it happened. Did you have a particular interest in UFOs? And he says, yes. Even if I'm not an enthusiast, on the other hand, I'm a man of intelligence And when we see things that are inexplicable today, we know that we can explain them tomorrow. It's just that we don't have the elements to imagine or understand what's going on. In the particular field of UFOs, not to mention people who are seeing a flying saucer landing in a field, there are fighter pilots, astronauts, people who are totally trustworthy and report very accurate observations. We should not say that they do not make sense, only recognize that there are things that elude us in explaining the phenomena. And it is in this context that I became interested in this problem, because the first thing we see when we study UFO phenomena is that these objects do not seem to obey the laws of aerodynamics or physics, and that they are not subject to the force of gravity. Therefore, the question that arises is, has any country developed a system, technology, that disobeys the known laws of physics? 20 years ago, I would have answered, why not? But today, if a country in the world had made such a discovery, we would know it. No progress of this magnitude can be kept secret. It is impossible. That's an interesting take. He may be right. I don't know. If a country possessed such technology, it would have already been used openly. I'm not so sure, though. I don't know. Depends on who has the technology. A lot of the thing with a lot of the secret projects is that oftentimes the people themselves that are doing these projects aren't really sure what the hell they're doing. They may be solving some, metallurgic question, and another, group of people might be looking into, looking at ways of altering the force of gravity or something else. I mean, they're so compartmentalized that nobody, the idea is that nobody has the picture. Nobody really knows what's going on. They're just solving a problem. These groups are set up to solve a particular aspect. And once they do that, then maybe they'll be given another one, or maybe they'll be done, So it's not unheard of to believe that only a few of people have this knowledge of what was actually done or what is actually being done. And, that the people that even worked on it may not know. So I think that what he's saying is, I think, an oversimplification in that sense, because these things aren't done in a warehouse with just a bunch of people ratcheting things together. These things are done in, probably worldwide, in labs around the world, completely unrelated to each other, taking segments of the problem and coming up solutions, which then are assembled somewhere. But it might be okay, possible to keep it secret if only a handful of people know what you're doing. So, you said one way or another there would have been leaks or an indiscretion of the scientists working on it. And since there has been absolutely nothing, it is something else and goes beyond what we have on Earth. Well, I think he's not taking into account people like Bob Lazar and possibly Phil Schneider. And maybe they're controversial figures to some, but I think Bob Lazar's got a, I think he knows what he's talking about. I really do. Do the intelligence services have adequate tools to deal with such elusive issues as that of UFOs, the nature of which we do not know and whose existence remains questionable? Technical and human resources must be developed to collect information. An intelligence service can only investigate UFOs if there is a need expressed by those in charge. That is, by the highest state authorities. If the latter considers it not a priority problem, which is generally the case, nothing happens. We know that Americans have launched a very serious study with a big budget to understand the issue, and it seems that other great powers, particularly Russia and China, did the same. No doubt for the same reasons, discovering if there is something behind the UFO phenomena that, technically speaking, may be interesting. May be interesting. Now, here's the thing. I don't think any of them are looking into the UFO problem for the sake of discovery. They're looking into the UFO problem for the sake of, could we build that? Could we make one of those? Could we put a gun on it? And it's, I'm chuckling as I say that. It sounds, ridiculous, but honestly, it seems like our discovery is first punctuated by its possible military applications, which can be good and can be bad. I think war is always bad. Don't get me wrong, but certainly it's interesting to see the things that have been adapted and created, and how far technology has come in the theaters of war, but not for not for a lot of people, unfortunately. And so it really makes it an incredibly uneven playing field, which I don't think is also good. I think that a balance of power is a good thing in our world, because if any one country would become the supreme power of all, then that might be a scary thing. No, I love my country. Don't get me wrong. I love this country truly and dearly. But, I still think that, balancing the power around the globe is probably good, just to keep things in check. I don't know. Maybe I'm absolutely wrong. But you be the judge. And it says, here we can delve into other aspects that I mentioned in the documentary film. We go from a world view modeled by traditional physics to another vision based on quantum physics. And we understand these phenomena much better through the prism of quantum physics rather than that of our current physics. Yeah, I would think that's absolutely right, to look at it in the realm of the quantum, because these are advanced technologies and advanced, obviously, races that create them. So they're probably not delving in thrust and aerodynamics like they've outgrown that for probably a hell of a long time. And they're, rather than worrying if there's friction and drag and, how much lift and propulsion they need, they just have to create a field around their device and it does what they want. So they create their own little space around their object. It's, kind of almost like a subspace field. And it has its own set of, like it's not moving, but everything around it is. So they can propel that field around in astronomical fashion, and yet there's no inertia, no drag, there's nothing, because it's separate from us in a sense. So I don't know. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I think it's fascinating stuff. Cool article. I think he did a hell of a job. I'm not familiar with that film that was put together, but I think it'd be worth looking at. Again, what was it called? I'm looking for the name here. It's not really highlighted in the interview. Well, anyway, if you're interested in it, I will put the link in the chats and you can check it out yourself. I think it's a fascinating article, and it does link to other things that are also relevant at the bottom of the page. So check that out. Visit some of those sites. I encourage you. I beseech you. I'm beseeching right now, guys. Come on. Absolutely. We gotta encourage the community. All right. I just had to polish off my water there, 'cause I'm doing a lot of talking. Maggie's got fly paper. Good. Darkness Radio. Actually, little sneak peek. I'm having conversations with Dave Schrader about getting him on. That should be a fun interview. Dave Schrader. And Ronnie LeBlanc of Expedition Bigfoot and Paranormal Captured, or what is it? Paranormal. It's a paranormal show that he does commentary on through the segments. I think it's Caught on Tape or something, Paranormal Caught on Tape or something like that. Yeah, Ronnie LeBlanc's a great guy. I'm really fond of him. I met him and we got along fantastically. Yeah, no, Sheldon couldn't be here, Barbara. He's got some other obligation tonight he's got to take care of. So real life happens, believe it or not. But still, the portal must go on. I was upset when he went off the air. Yes, Chucky, it is. Dave is good too. But not Art Bell, but he's good. Yeah, no, I've seen Karen. When you were at Phenomicon, did you see Dave talk? Did you see his talk at all? Because I watched part of it. It was really, really good. He's just so well informed about a lot of different things, and he's a very animated speaker too. He was very funny and very fun to listen to. I had a lot of fun. He also has a podcast, folks. Dave Schrader has a podcast, and it's called The Paranormal 60. And if you get a chance, check it out. You should follow him on Facebook. Follow Dave on Facebook, Dave Schrader, and check out his Paranormal 60. It's a good show. He's so good at what he does. Yeah, I mean, he's not Art Bell, but Art Bell was Art Bell. Nobody can be Art Bell. Art Bell cut the grass we're all walking down. I mean, he cut the path. Definitely he spearheaded all this paranormal talk. But and there might have been earlier examples than Art Bell, but certainly none that made the impact that Art made. He just cut it out and had an incredible show in both Midnight in the Desert and as well as Coast to Coast. So very cool. All right, let's get to the next article as I'm spider webbing around. I just realized I got flypaper was such a random thing to say. It kind of was, Maggie. But for potential hair samples. Okay. I thought you had another issue. Yeah. Sorry, Maggie. I'm just kind of picking on you tonight. You know I love you. All right, so we're going to go to Hows and Wise next. And Hows and Wise is a really cool site, too. They got just a ton of different topics over there. So anyway, this one I think is interesting because it kind of alludes to during the disclosure hearings in 2010 at the press club in Washington, D.C., with Stephen Greer and several of the witnesses that he brought forth. He also brought forth a gentleman by the name of Paul Hellyer. And Paul Hellyer was a former Minister of Defense for Canada. And, at the time, I don't think it was the right time for Paul Hellyer to talk about that stuff because literally they were speaking at the press club in front of a group of senators, which was set up like a hearing room. And these senators were hearing the testimony of all these witnesses as Stephen Greer was trying to push the envelope forward into, disclosure and into research and into, at least legitimizing the fact that something's going on. And there were some incredible presentations there. I watched the whole thing, at least a large majority of it, maybe not the whole thing. But so a lot of these senators may not be on board with this and just were there because, it was interesting. And so they're listening and listening. You can look at the footage and see that they're at least taking this stuff in. They're like, the knit brows and the concerned looks as they're listening to the testimonies of all these people that have experienced these incredible events. And I'm thinking, this is really moving the needle. This is really, helping the cause. But then there's the person that tells a good story, and then there's the person that tells way too much. It's like way too much. And that was Paul Hellyer. He got up there and used his time. Now he was, an authority. He was in the government and stuff in Canada. He was saying that he was aware that the Earth was being visited regularly by 12 different races. And I was like, oh, too soon. Too soon, Paul Hellyer, not yet. It's not time. And so he gave his whole spiel, and it was interesting, but I don't think that was the right forum for him to have done that in, because I just think they were introducing the idea that there are UFOs really here and people are really seeing stuff, and here's a bunch of incredible witnesses that have seen stuff, and then Paul's going to bring it all down. Now, I don't think that, it was probably as damaging as I thought. I was just like, well, I think when you bring people into a topic, you got to do it with baby steps. You can't, and we're being visited, and they're everywhere. Like they live with Roddy Piper. That was a cool movie, but yeah, he said 12, and he said apparently some people have claimed more. Now that claim is not new. That's been around for a while. At least that several entities are living among us, even that apparently, according to Don, and I'm not familiar with this quote or this link, but he claims that the Chinese made a statement that they had communities that they knew had extraterrestrials living in, and or at least among them, that they knew there were extraterrestrials living among them, and that was apparently released by the CCP, which I find incredibly odd because they don't generally let information flow like that. But yeah, he was. Yep, Jason, he was, and I'm sure he's a phenomenal guy. I mean, he's passed away now, unfortunately, but he was definitely a force moving the ball forward. It was just, I thought that was too soon. But yeah, apparently, according to research papers out there, the way to break cognitive dissonance has to be the drip fashion. Yeah. You can't just submerge people in a whole new thought and ideas. It's just too much. They just, nope, too much. I'm done. And that's what I felt like Paul Hellier's testimony in that forum was. Now, I think his testimony was wonderful, and he brought, some really cool potential information. I will say that not everybody regarded Paul Hellier in the same light, with reverence. Not many. There was some others, some in the UFO field that are very well established that didn't regard him as well, because they felt that he was stealing things from other places and just presenting it as his own. But I don't know. Again, I'm not real well versed. I just had that said to my face, and I was like, oh, and okay, by a gentleman that I do respect in the fields, and he was not complimentary very much. But I don't know. I never knew Paul Hellier, so I don't really have a personal opinion of him. But anyway, let's get to this article because I think this is pretty interesting. It kind of touches on this. This one gives a much higher number than 12. So, and apparently it comes from the KGB, the former KGB. So let's take a look at this one. And it says, this is from How and Wise again. This is by Vicky Verma, who's also an incredible guy that has done some, How and Wise is a great site. It's chock full of his work. Vicky Verma's pretty incredible. So check it out, and I'll put a link about this article in the chat as well. You can check out the article for yourself. We're going to read through it now. During the Cold War, the USSR was one of the mysterious places to get information about the government. Although the United States began studying UFOs in the 40s, the Soviets were also curious about the phenomena and did their own investigation into the subject. The story of the KGB secret expedition to Egypt by Daily Mail popularizes Russia's interest in the aliens. Additionally, there are accounts of Russian cosmonauts who publicly admitting having seen something unnatural in space, hinting at extraterrestrial activities. Further, the translated version of the secret Russian KGB book of alien species stirred up controversy among the researchers. This mysterious KGB book turned up when a deceased Ukrainian officer's son found it among his belongings. This text revealed the alien races that had contacted the Earth. The Book of Alien Races was translated from Russian into English by Dante Santori, a former Special Forces sergeant from Europe. The original 1946 book was written to inform KGB agents of the various alien races who had visited Earth, and also was used as a notebook by secret agents as they constantly made additions and revisions to the original startling information over the years. The book actually belonged to the former diplomat of Ukraine, KGB, and describes over 50 extraterrestrial races that have visited our planet. It is imbued with the knowledge of alien species, descriptions, their ships, and places of origin, as well as information on how alien races had contributed to human evolution here on Earth. For example, they mention an alien race, the Algruk, Allgrulk, the Algrulk, who come from the constellation Sculptor, which is famous in the universe as creators and builders. They derive from an ancient race of reptilians that has gone extinct. They are specialists in building ships and other devices needed for deep space travel. They are also space travelers themselves, searching for new raw materials, and can live up to 230 years. Wow. And that's a picture right there. That first picture is the Algrulk. I don't know what the hell is this? I don't even know what I'm looking at there. And then this guy, look at that.
Noise.
What's the noise? It said noise. I don't know what noise it's talking about. The noise of my voice? Is that what you're talking about? I don't know. There's just a little blip noise. On the radar, you can see the one little blip on the top bar there. That was where noise came through. This is an Indukut or a tall white. Wonder what he's going to do next. Just looking at the long neck. Come on. Anyway, Of the 58 races described in the book, Rak is the race that visited Earth only 5 times. They visited Middle East and that created the belief in the jinn, or genies, in Islamic mythology. According to some Muslim scholars, they inhabit an unseen world in a dimension beyond the existing dimensions of our universe. According to reports from other alien races, they stopped visiting Earth because their immune system could not cope with Earth's fauna and flora. The species was last seen in 712 AD. Another alien race called the Invisibles are known to have been seen near high security areas. They're almost completely invisible to the naked eye. Both the USA and Russian military have developed technology that tracks them down on radar, just the ships. I wonder if that's what some of these Glimmerman things are. Could they be the Invisibles? These Glimmerman sightings where people are seeing these predator-like things in the forests? Could it be the extraterrestrials, the Invisibles? That's interesting. 3 things are known about this race. They give off a sour smell when they are near. When they're near windows, you can see their reflection as a smudged-like figure, and have been caught on CCTV footage. 3, when many dogs, or even only one, start barking for no apparent reason, it is possible that they are nearby, or reptoids/reptilians. They come from the constellation Mensa, and the purpose of their presence is unknown. Oh, this is one. Almahuluk 163 is a technologically advanced race, was forced to leave Earth after losing a battle against reptoids in ancient India. So they're talking about the Vimanas and stuff, yeah. Date unknown, which they had been visiting for around 200 years. They resumed their visits to Earth in 1948, and their ships are often invisible to radar and the human eye, and they wear some sort of clothing that makes them invisible as well. Supposedly, they come from Jupiter or one of its moons. They were last seen in Portugal in May 2005. They were last seen because they're wearing invisible clothes. What if that means you're naked? No. The book describes the race of Indugult, the tall white, which is the one I showed you before with the long neck, which has several bases on the moon. Where they mine minerals. They use slaves to do most of their work. These slaves are extremely well taken care of, and the Indugult see them as indispensable. Yeah, otherwise the Indugult could have to grab a shovel. I suppose they're indispensable. Yeah, great. They are almost in permanent contact with high-ranking officials from the USA and China and Russian governments. They have the ability to shapeshift into an almost perfect human form. They are also known as Men in Black, as they use special dark suits to protect their skin when in human shape while conducting special operations on Earth. Next, there is the peaceful alien race, the Solipsi Rai, or Greys. Their civilization is 2 billion years old. Once they were at the same level of development as ourselves, they have no colonies and are completely focused on the development of other planets and races. They come from the constellation Cygnus, and they do have one powerful weapon that keeps some neighboring violent races away, and others that may try to invade them. That was a Solipsi Rai. Okay, that's the Greys. Cool. Then there's the Kilamat R, or aka the KR, or Kar, I guess. They come from the constellation Crux near Gakrux. It is a very hard race to track down or spot. Both the USA and the Russian military have developed a special camera and radar system that allows to spot them when they are on Earth. But even then, they've only been sighted 8 times. The purpose of their presence is unknown. When they are sighted, it is usually in an area known as the Bermuda Triangle. That's where those planes went. That makes all kinds of sense. Not really. But, certainly, maybe I don't know what to say there. The next one is the Akart. They come from the constellation Sextans. One of their ships crashed outside of the Varginha, Brazil, In 1996, two of its occupants are under USA custody after having paid billions of dollars to the Brazilian government. They have the fastest ships of any known alien race. They were last seen February 2002 near Varginha, Brazil. Well, I bet you can find them here somewhere. It is believed that it was the SMERSH counterintelligence service developed by the Red Army and founded on April 14th, 1946, that wrote the book. A small version of the book where the best extraterrestrial SMERSH was described was delivered on January 13th, 1947. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Is it possible? I guess, sure. I mean, space is huge. What could be out there? Well, anything. And obviously, something's here. Something's visiting us. Man, it's weird. I'm going to copy this link and put it in the chat here where you guys can check it out. I think it's good. I like this article. I'd like to read more from this book. This is pretty incredible. But 58 that contacted her several times. Some just for a little bit, and some seems like they're still in contact. Yep. There's a link. Did you see the link, Barbara? I pasted the link in both chats, actually, and on Twitch and in YouTube. So very interesting articles. I really enjoyed that one. I think I'm going to look into more that might talk about some of these alien races that are visiting us or are maybe here. It wouldn't surprise me. I imagine if, so like say, if those civilizations are like millions or however old, I mean, what could they have discovered? What could they make? Well, they could make anything. They could make anything. So I think that's it would look like magic to us, as they say, when technology becomes advanced enough, and that and magic would be indiscernible from each other. It would all be magical. I think that's kind of cool. I don't know how y'all feel about that. Do you think there might be aliens living amongst us here on the planet? Do you think they're here? Do they have secret bases, possibly under the ocean? What are your thoughts? To me, I think they are. And I think the use of the ocean is obvious because, one, we've barely scratched the surface of the ocean and the depths, not just the surface. But it was a figurative thing. It's a figure of speech. But I don't know if any blue ones were mentioned. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I would like to say this. I think the blue avian thing was all the rage for a while, but honestly, I think Corey Good and what's his name turned out to be kind of charlatans. And I don't know, you be the judge. I hate to judge anybody based on just other people saying stuff, but it is possible. I don't know. But nobody else outside of those two seems to know anything about the blue avians. So it's a very strange thing. But that's the only blue ones that I remember hearing about. I suppose any of them maybe could be blue. maybe they show their emotions like a mood ring, like those tall whites. They just turn blue when they're sad, and they turn white when they're happy or something. I just don't know. Anyway, something like that. Yep. Chucky says something like that, but I think he's talking about something else. Oh, cool. That's cool. Oh, Chucky. That's pretty crazy. Chucky says, you don't mind me sharing, Chucky, but in the chat, Chucky says, had a ghost visit me in my car yesterday. Got to go into work, and it smelled like old lady perfume. 1/4 of the way to work, I then got the smell of rotting meat. Ooh, that's two very different experiences, apparently. Time for you to cleanse, I think. He says, I asked my psychic friend to look into it for me, and the perfume was from an ancestor from my mom's side of the family. The rotting meat smell was from a gremlin-looking thing in the back seat. Yeesh. Yeah, you got it. I don't know if there's good gremlins or not, Chucky, but, if you're getting gremlins popping in, I think it might be good to cleanse the car. Do mood rings really work? Nah, not really. They don't really work, but mood aliens might. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, you're right. Of course, East Indian culture, Barbara Morris says, has blue deities. That's true. That is very true. Now it's interesting the remarking about the war in India, in ancient India, because of course the Vimanas, I forget what the ancient scrolls in India were called, but they talk about the Vimanas, which are basically these triangular shape or building shaped craft that could fly around, and they had guns on them. And I don't know, there's some claim there might have been some nuclear weaponry creating all kinds of havoc back then. And it's interesting. So could it have been them? Maybe. I talked to I can't remember his name. Gosh, well, never mind. I won't try to tell what was said, but it was talking about the old Vimanas and other things that happened in antiquity, and how it might be the Anunnaki battling amongst themselves. So that's the second time, at least, that I've talked to, or from this article, and then this talking to that gentleman, Sergio, I think is his name, Halabi. I'll have to look it up again because I'm terrible with names, as you all know. But he was on, and we talked about the religion of the Anunnaki or something like that. It was the name of the podcast episode. Really, really interesting. And I would encourage you to check it out. I can't remember which season, as we're on season 5 now, but yeah, that was very interesting, and how that might relate to biblical events, as well as some of the stories from the India's histories, and it's very interesting takes. Now, I don't have any doubt personally that we've been visited throughout time, and our many civilizations were probably assisted by some of these beings from the stars, and I think it's great. I just wonder why they quit, and why they didn't keep coming down and teaching us. Maybe we're learning too much. Maybe we're learning wrong. Maybe our wars. Maybe any number of things they decided, nope, we're going to let them sit at this level for a while because they keep shooting stuff at each other. It sounds like, for the most part, they tend to be hopefully peaceful. Yeah, Jason, Planet X, Nibiru. Yep. Apparently there's a new planet that's been discovered out in the distance. I think past Pluto even, but it's on a different orbit. So I keep wondering, is that Nibiru? A long time now I've been hearing, well, Nibiru's coming, and all these people have these ideas of Nibiru making this return trip as promised, apparently by the cuneiform tablets of the Sumerians. And if they do show up, I don't know what that would mean. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Honestly, I don't know if they were actually battling with each other and not getting along with each other. It might suck if they come back, but if they, come back and get that all sorted out, maybe they'll be decent. I don't know. Interesting topics. But again, I have no doubt that we've been visited. We are being visited. We're potentially playing host to races. I mean, I don't make anything impossible. I just don't think I don't think anything is impossible, because after doing this show for all these years, and I've said this many times before, and I hate to be redundant, but I'm always redundant. And I will say that I thought I knew this stuff before I got into doing this show. And since doing this show, man, I feel like I know less, actually, because I have so many more questions. I guess it's like anything. The more you know, the more you don't know. The more you know, the more you know you don't know is, I think, the best explanation. So anyway, that was a cool article. I hope you guys check them out, both of those sites and those articles. I think that was phenomenal. But what time do we have? Yeah, it's after 8. It's time to get into the Cryptid Corner, ladies and gentlemen. So let's dive into that. I think I should make an intro for the Cryptid Corner, shouldn't I? Probably. I'll get on it. Don't worry. It's on my to-do list somewhere, along with about 500 other things. It's all time, right? It's all time. Okay, so let's get to the Cryptid Corner, and we're going to start out, of course, well, not of course, but I love when we can start with SasquatchChronicles.com, because this is obviously my friend, Mr. Wes Germer, and mentor. He's does such a phenomenal job on this site, and I think I don't know, I think a lot of people visit it. I don't think that it's, not getting traffic by any means, but I just can't encourage people enough to check it out because there's so much information over there, and it's not just his episodes. It's so much more. In fact, I'm kind of envious. Well, I'm a lot envious actually of this site because I like that he's got so much information there, and it's such a repository of a lot of the Bigfoot stuff and a lot of other stuff. And he certainly hosts a lot of shows, not only the Paranormal Portal from time to time, but he also hosts like
Addition.
In addition to what? So we've got alphabet, noise, and addition. Okay. So, I mean, he hosts a lot of other shows from other creators, and they're all phenomenal. So check it out, SasquatchChronicles.com, the blog. Let's get to the first one tonight in the Cryptid Corner, and this is from February 2nd, which is today old. It's a today old post, and this is one of his emails from a listener, and I love these because they don't always become shows, but they're all accounts of people's experiences with Bigfoot, and every encounter I think is valuable because I think we stand to learn something from each of these. We stand to, maybe some little nugget this person includes will be unique and different than somebody else has observed. So let's read it and find out what this one's about. It says it was maybe 8 or 9 feet tall. It's not exactly what it says, but that was close. A listener writes, my family's lived in Colorado since the early 1800s, mostly in Colorado Springs, and we spent a lot of time fishing on the weekends at Green Mountain Falls and going deep into the Rockies to camp in the summer and early fall. This wasn't a normal tent and backpack camping. From as little as I can remember, I've never been afraid of the woods. When I was about 10, I went with my best friend and his dad to a cabin in the campground called Cuddy's near Canyon City. It didn't seem much like camping with staying in a cabin, having a pool and a playground, so we weren't as cautious as usual. For example, walking around the surrounding forest at night. We met a group of kids similar in age to us and to hang out with, and walking and exploring. One night, when we were at the playground at the edge of the woods, away from most campers near the river, it was like a mini ghost town type of thing, made up to be kid-sized rows of Old West buildings. Oh, okay, I got you. We climbed up on top of the saloon building to sit around and talk. It was an hour or so past dark, not sure of the time. We didn't really wear watches, and it being the 1980s, we didn't have cell phones. So around this time, little dime-sized pebbles started landing around us at random intervals. Then, after about 15 minutes, slightly larger stones, about the size of a quarter, started getting tossed at us. It didn't seem like they were aimed at us, but just in the area around us, like no one was trying to hurt us. So we stand up and start shining our lights into the trees, thinking maybe it was some other kids, or maybe even an adult was messing with us. My friend and the other boy jumped down and started walking towards the woods, while myself and the other two girls started to search the trees with our flashlights. Mine landed on a face about 8 or 9 feet off the ground, and I said, "Hey, he's in the trees." And then they all paused. Then we all paused, taking a long 20 to 30 second look. We all seemed to realize at the same time that this was not a person, and he was not in the tree but standing next to the tree. It was a Bigfoot. It was covered in dark, shaggy fur. What does that say? The Dave was between, I don't know what it means. The Dave was between a human and a chimp in structure. I don't know what that means, but little graying around the muzzle of the face, dark eyes. One of the others said we should go back to our cabins. We all just sort of backed away, climbed off the building and walked away, only to start running when we were well away from the playground. I asked my dad if there was a Bigfoot in Colorado, and he sort of laughed and said no. But he had some native friends that said, oh, there were tales of them, and that there were places their elders told them to avoid out of respect for these creatures. We moved to rural Pennsylvania a year later, so I never had the chance to go back. And I've often thought about it, and it was like they knew me. They knew we were just kids. It was just trying to encourage us to go away. Yeah, I think that's pretty common behavior. I mean, who knows why? Maybe it liked to sit around those buildings itself at night. But it starts out with small things and it progresses. I guess when they saw it, sounds like it just kind of froze there staring at them. But 8 or 9 feet tall, and you're just a kid. Oh my God. But again, most of the sightings are like that. They're just if you see them, it's not necessarily horrible or terrible. They just kind of see, and most often they just wander away. Crazy, but good story. Good story. So that's the first of our cryptid corner tonight. I think it's very interesting though that they do the rock throwing thing. Like, it wants to get your attention. Is it to inspire fear or maybe just discomfort? Like the unknown. Maybe that's why I'm so fascinated by the Bigfoot, is because it just seems so psychological. You know, how they progress, how they do their thing, and then they do another thing, and then they do another thing. And it's all aimed at just not letting you be comfortable, that you have to acknowledge that it's there, and you have to acknowledge something is going on, even though you don't really know what it is. I think that's interesting, but it is also intelligent. Like, why wouldn't it just go, brr, you know, or like any other animal would just make its presence known. If it was, you know, if it wanted you to get out of there, it would act aggressively enough to get you out of there. But this is so subtle, but it's calculated. And I just think that's incredible. But we've talked about it many, many, many times here on the show. It still doesn't cease to amaze me. Yep. I'm just looking at the chat here to see if I missed anything. Doesn't look like it did. I hope you guys like that story. Thank you, Wes, for letting us use that one. That's the only one from Sasquatch Chronicles tonight. So yeah, as always, check out Sasquatch Chronicles. That's all I can say. We're gonna lunge over to Phantoms and Monsters now, ladies and gentlemen, because Alon always does a great job whipping up a whole buffet of weirdness for us, and he also links a lot of his articles on Paranormal Portal fans page on Facebook. So if you haven't checked out Paranormal Portal fans, join over there. It's just 3 questions just to make sure you're not a bot or some scammer or something, that, you know, you're actually a person. Easy questions, not math. Don't worry. Nothing hard. But you'd love to have you over there because, you know, Lon is posting his stuff, and I post stuff there from time to time. I haven't been very, very good about it. But I'm working on the whole social media thing. Little by little. Actually spent a little bit of time on Twitter today, you know, making comments. So hopefully. All right, we're going to get to the first one here. And this one is one that we ran up to last time. This one's, I think, how long? Not too long. This one's not too long. One of these is pretty lengthy, though. This one is, again, Phantoms and Monsters. Check it out. Lon's home of his published works, his research, thousands and thousands of encounter stories, as well as the home of Phantoms and Monsters Radio, which is Lon's podcast. And it's also on YouTube, so check it out, Phantoms and Monsters Radio on YouTube. Lon does live streams as well, where he covers a lot of these stories and talks about them. And, I mean, he's the source of these stories, or at least writing them and being privy to a lot more information than I'm sure he put in the stories. So it's a great opportunity to kick back with Lon and hear his tales. So check him out. I think he live streams tonight, but he's already done it. So I think he does hour shows, but I'm not positive. All right. Grim Reaper returns to haunt Albuquerque, New Mexico cemetery. Yikes. Grim Reaper. You don't get many of these reports at all. This is very unusual. Now, I don't know if it's just a shadow person, a cloaked shadow person, because those come up from time to time. It's not unusual, but why they call it a Grim Reaper, I'm not sure, but I guess we'll find out. It says, here's a novel way you can become an attention seeker, dress up like a Grim Reaper, and roam a cemetery while praying, E-Y-A-Y or E-Y, for the dead among shocked mourners. This sounds like it's not actually a paranormal thing, but just somebody pulling some really tasteless ideas. Anyway, Highline, a local cemetery in Albuquerque, New Mexico, has become the haunting grounds for a mysterious man dressed like the Grim Reaper. Oh, what an idiot. The man first showed up at the San Jose del El Rosario Cemetery last month wearing a black cloak over a white dress. His face was covered, and he occasionally carried a bouquet of flowers that looked as if they'd been plucked from a nearby field. The strange figure disappeared only to show up again this weekend and consent to an interview with a reporter. The mysterious man says his name is the Light Wanderer and that he comes to the cemetery to pray. There is a place where sleepers sleep and dreamers dream and patiently await, he told the station, adding that people shouldn't fear him. There's nothing to be afraid of except those who seek to cause harm, pain, destruction, he said. Oh, okay. Well, it appears that the Grim Reaper is back, be it that same person or someone else. I received a telephone call last night from a witness who was at the San Jose del El Rosario Cemetery on Saturday and said that they witnessed someone dressed in black carrying a long scythe. If anyone else has heard of a recent sighting, please contact me. Lon. Below is an account that was reported by UPI at the time of the earlier sightings. Mourners are terrified of the mysterious Grim Reaper figure who has been standing over cemeteries in the United States. Witnesses have seen the man who calls himself the Light Wanderer walking alongside the tombstones and monuments in Albuquerque, New Mexico. However, the man in the ominous cloak insists that they have nothing to be scared of, unless they wish to harm upon him. After refusing to reveal his true identity, the man says that he appears at the cemetery to pray for the dead and to spread a message. The weight of time weighs heavy on our souls, he said to KRQE News 13. There is a place where the sleepers sleep, the dreamers dream, and patiently await. Cars had pulled over in shock at seeing the Reaper on top of the hills in Gibson, Albuquerque. Residents believe that the man is just seeking attention. There's cars all over, and it's just causing chaos, said a local woman, Priscilla Valdez. Well, if it's just an idiot in a cloak, let him be. Who cares as long as he's not wrecking things? He can cosplay at a cemetery if he wants. There's no harm, no foul. If he wants to LARP around a cemetery, okay. LARP around a cemetery. Just don't be disrespectful and, be somber. Be somber for the dead lie buried there. And besides, to each their own. I mean, it's not unusual, I guess, for people to be wearing hoodies anyway. And a cloak isn't much more than just a hoodie with a long drape on the back. So anyway, I don't know. It's kind of a non-story really, but it's interesting. It's kind of unusual. I actually like cemeteries. I like going into cemeteries because, I don't know, there's a different energy to cemeteries, obviously, but it's kind of, I guess, in some ways it's just, I don't want to say relaxing, but it's quiet and they're usually very peaceful places. So, I mean, it depends. If you're next to a busy road or something, it's no different than being anywhere else, probably. But it's just the idea that you look around and it's a place of history. It's almost a record book of a community and stuff. And I always look for the oldest graves. I find those just incredibly interesting just to see who the oldest grave in the cemetery is. And I always, pray and wish my regards to those that have crossed and those that may linger and, hope that they find their way home if they haven't. But I think that cemeteries are peaceful places. I don't ever get a creeping thing. No, I don't, necessarily wander cemeteries at night, but I don't know that many people do. Anyway, just some thoughts. So there you go. That was from obviously Phantoms and Monsters. Interesting story. All right, let's see what's next. This is creepy, folks. We're heading into the huge, pale, skinny humanoid chases witnesses in Dawson County, Nebraska. Yikes. I don't like the pale humanoid things. I don't know what it is. Usually they're all naked, which is weird enough anyway. Like, I'd always be uncomfortable if some naked guy was chasing me, whether he's a normal human or not. It's just not a good look. You know, I would never be okay with that. But, you know, the whole idea that, you know, there's these other things out there that are not people, but they're something else. I mean, you don't know if they want you to be food or if they're just, I don't know, posturing. Who knows? Good God, we know nothing about them, but creepy as hell. Yeah, Barbara says, I try to read the names and say hello. Yeah, exactly. I do the same. What are your thoughts on Gorlock? I'm not going to talk about Gorlock. I'm not going to talk about that, Joseph. It's not paranormal. I mean, it's not normal, but it's not paranormal. Now, that even sounded rude what I said, and I didn't mean it that way. It's a, you know, it's obviously someone who has to know they're getting attention. And if that's what they want to do with their time in the world and their, you know, minutes of notoriety, then I guess more power to them. It's different. I you know, to each their own, I guess, honestly. Where I live in Lancaster, Ontario, Canada, is just down the street, is a cemetery from the mid-1700s. Wow. And every tombstone base, a Masonic symbol on them. Wow, that's incredible, Jason. That's must be wild. It's okay, we know, and it's okay to say it. Yeah, that's, you know, here's the thing, Joseph. I never try to cast dark thoughts on anyone. You know, I mean, believe me, I've heard the humorous takes on that, and you know, and whatever. But I just keep thinking that, you know, inside of everyone is just a person that's trying, you know, and we can't understand the struggles that they faced, and you know, that they came to a place where they decided they liked it. I guess maybe that's good. I don't know, but I just know that everybody's fighting their own battles, and I don't want to pile on that. You know, that's my take on it. Do I always succeed in that? No, but I always try to. You know, I always try to. I say mean things sometimes too, you know, and I don't feel good about it. So I don't know. Ooh, I've got a good one for you guys. Jason Kieran, After Death Angel Studios, about what happens after we die. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's cool, Ramon. I actually been watching The Chosen, and I think they did a really, really amazing job on that. So, all right, let's check out this one about the pale, skinny humanoid. A Nebraska man and several boys were fishing a canal in Dawson County at night when they suddenly encountered a huge, pale, skinny humanoid that chased them out of this area. These are the facts regarding a situation that happened on Sunday, June 16th, 2022. And the hunt I went on Monday, June 17th, 2022. Only 2 other people know about pale, skinny humanoids. Only 2 other people know about pale, skinny humanoids. I've never really been able to share these experiences because it's very hard to believe, but I assure you that they are factual and real. The main part of this account was told to me by my brother-in-law. He is a no-nonsense type of guy, so I knew it was true just by the reaction from him and the 5 kids that were there with him at the time. One of the kids is my nephew, and the other 4 are basically family, so you'll understand why I went hunting for this thing that terrorized them at that night. First, a description of the location on the night of June 16th. My brother-in-law and nephew, along with 4 other children, were fishing at a local location called Young's Check, south of Cad, Nebraska, in Dawson County. This is a small gate that controls the flow of water into Johnston's Lake, which is about 10 miles to the east. It's not flat like most people see when traveling through the state. The canal is wooded on both sides, so there's plenty of natural cover for anything wanting to move without being seen. When I was a kid, you could drive right up to the gate, but it's fenced off now. They were night fishing the road that leads to the gate. The canal is extremely steep on each side with only one way in and one way out. When this thing chased them all the way back to their vehicle, it was about 2:30 a.m. One of the kids thought they heard something making noise in the water near them, So my brother-in-law shined his light. To their horror, they witnessed an almost disfigured, pale white creature on all fours drinking out of the canal. It didn't notice them until he shined the light on it, and it was so close it had to know they were there. He said it turned to look at him when he shined the light and said it had pointed ears, no hair, and black eyes that didn't reflect the light or the light like any other animal in the world. One of the kids later looked up images of skinwalkers when they returned home and said it looked like one in all fours with weird disfigured back. He said that the one they saw was 10 times more muscular than the supposed one online. My brother-in-law turned to the kids and yelled, "Run now!" He then turned back and saw that this creature started coming towards him, and he just dropped everything and ran. That's right, he left everything. He didn't have time to pack and began running. He only ran about 15 feet and looked back to see this thing eating the chicken liver they abandoned, along with a few other items he had no time to grab. It then began to scale the steep drop-off going up the hill and was matching their pace. As they ran on the road below, they reached the gate, and he told the kids to keep running all the way to the truck and get in, don't stop. He wanted to make some distance between them and this thing. And so he stopped and turned to face this thing so the kids would be safe. He said when he turned around, it came barreling down the hill, stopped next to the utility pole, and stood up on 2 legs.
Push.
Push? I don't think he wanted to push it. He just wanted, he was trying to push them to get to the truck. The ghost box said push. The next day, he showed me where the top of the head was next to the pole, almost as if this thing was trying to show him how big it was. The head alone reached about 8 feet, and I'm 5'11", and I had to reach on my toes to the metal bracket where he said this thing's head was clearing. It stood there for about 5 seconds, to which my brother-in-law must have felt like an eternity. He was only 10 feet from this thing, looking at it eye to eye. Then it charged him on 2 legs, and he immediately turned around and sprinted down the road. He said this thing was making grunting noises, and its footfalls sounded like it had to have weighed 600 pounds or better. He said it must have turned and scaled the high wall on the south side of the road, because as he was running, it was running on top of this small cliff right above him. It went off to the right after a bit and out of sight. He and the kids all said that on the small bend. He and the kids all said that on the small bend before they reached the truck, they heard what sounded like babies crying to their right in the trees. They all piled into the truck, and by this time 2 of the kids were crying uncontrollably. He started the truck, and when he turned on the lights, this thing was right across the road behind a tree staring right at them. They said its face had changed, and now it looked like it had rags on its face, but still just pale white and black unreflecting eyes. He showed me where it was standing with its head clearing the top of the tree. They peeled out of there, and it didn't follow them any further. When they got home, none of the kids could sleep, and one of them sat in the corner holding a cross and a penny, just crying. He wanted to sleep in the closet, keeping the cross and penny in his hands. I don't know, he's telling me about this the next day, and all I could think was anger. I was going to hunt this thing that terrorized my family. So a very good friend, my brother-in-law, and I, along with one of the kids who was quite honestly has balls of steel, wanted to go with us. We were all fully armed. We packed our gear and headed up to the location. My brother-in-law came out around 10 that night after my friend, the boy, and I went exploring. We arrived about 1 hour before sundown, and we scaled the hills past where they were fishing nearly a mile further east. We found an area that we could get down into the water, and something strange happened. When my brother-in-law came out, what happened? Okay, I don't know. When my brother-in-law came out, we headed back to where they had first seen the creature. He was leading us around, showing us everything this creature traveled, everywhere this creature traveled. You could see where something massive had come down the steep embankment, And when we got to the fishing spot, we found one track where the chicken liver was and found what we thought was a barefoot human-looking print, 16 plus inches long, with 3-toed imprints. So they got 3 toes. Huh. After about an hour, nothing had happened, but the boy said that he thought he felt something watching us the entire time. I did not feel this, but then again, I have absolutely no fear of anything, so maybe I didn't pick up on it. I asked the boy if at any point he thought it was trying to attack them, and he said no. The feeling he said was that it was trying to intimidate and scare the kids. We never encountered this creature again. Wow. That is, I don't know, those, maybe they're not really preying on people. And I got to be honest, I've never really heard of anybody being directly attacked that I can remember, but I don't know. Still a creepy, creepy thing. What would you do? You're out fishing and then out pops an 8-foot pale thing with like pointed ears and solid black eyes. Maybe like the picture. Maybe the picture is a good representation of that. It's just a headshot, but I don't know. Did it have a more normal nose and face or what? But I would honestly have thought of like, God, what is it? The Nosferatu movie where that German guy, Max, whatever. And he looked just creepier than hell. Ugh. I don't know. You be the judge. Again, Gollum on steroids, still looking for the ring. Precious. Stupid fat habits. You never know. Could be. It could be. I don't know. He's apparently been working out then. Maybe Gollum hit the roids and he's getting his summer bod. But yeah, creepy as hell. What? Again, those are kind of just one-off takes. They don't. I've never heard them with the pointed ears described before. So what do you do with that? I don't know. It's just one of those things. I just don't know. So much mystery in all this paranormal stuff. I guess there's no solid answers, but all you can do is just try to correlate stories together. Try to see what fits, what doesn't. Sometimes, like as we've said, there's just the one-off stories. They're just one-off encounters that nobody ever had before and nobody ever had since. Don't know. No, yikes. Yeah, absolutely, Ruthie. But you got to wonder, what if, like Rachel's bringing up 411 missing 411? What if it's things like this? What if it is? I don't know. Creepy stuff. All of it's creepy stuff. But that's what we love here on the portal. Creepy is good. Maybe spooky is a better word, because there's going to be a lot of things that are creepy that are not good, but nothing like that. Okay, let's get to the next one, and this one is another one from Phantoms and Monsters. This one's an interesting one because these are exceptionally rare accounts too. They come up every once in a great while, and I think Lon has a few of them posted here on Phantoms and Monsters. So you just do a keyword search for gargoyle. I think these are interesting because obviously legends of gargoyles are quite old, but maybe they're still around. Jeepers Creepers gargoyle confronts cousins on Missouri highway. In Missouri, I was contacted by Edward in Kansas City, Kansas, by telephone after he read my book, Mothman Dynasty, Chicago's Winged Humanoids. He wanted to retell his encounter. Edward wanted to replay an encounter that he and his cousin had in the summer of 1999 between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. local time. They were traveling southbound on I-49 towards Joplin, Missouri. Edward was driving. He could not recall the exact area, but they were not too many miles from Joplin. He states that he noticed a tall figure quickly running from the direction of the median, I think it meant median, to his left, and then directly in front of his car. Both he and his cousin observed this human-like being that they immediately said to each other that looked like a gargoyle. The headlights illuminated the humanoid so well that both witnesses were able to get a good description of it. The gargoyle was at least 6.5 feet in height and had dark, leathery, hairless skin all over its body. The being looked towards the witnesses, and its face had stark, flattened facial features with large, deep-set eyes. There were large wings that had laid flat on its back, but were extended as it reached the other right side of the highway. Edward believes the being had begun to ascend into the air and above the field. Edward noted that he had no other comparison to make of the humanoid, other than that of a gargoyle, but after he watched the movie Jeepers Creepers, after the film's release in 2001, he stated that the humanoid was very similar to the creeper character. Both witnesses kept quiet about their encounter until a few years later, when Edward married his wife. He and his cousin both recounted the incident to her. The witness seemed grateful that he could tell his story without someone thinking he was crazy. Yeah, man, I don't know. Again, could there be gargoyles? Yeah, there be gargoyles out there. Sure, there can be anything, folks. If anything, any takeaway of all of this is just anything's possible. Anything is possible. I've honestly never seen it. I generally don't watch, horror movies, just because if I watch a movie, I want it to just take me away to someplace, not put me in a state of fear. Life is full of enough fear. I don't know. But to each their own. I know a lot of people that love them, and, people I know and love horror movies. I don't take that mark that against them. That's phenomenal. I just get too stressed. Like, no, run. No, don't go in the basement. Don't go in the basement. No, God, no. But they do. And they always, let's split up. It's like, no, don't split up. God. Like every bad idea, it's like, no, don't do that. And then they do it. And so I'm like constantly frustrated and disgusted by what happens next. It's like, yeah, I'd like to graphically watch somebody get dismembered or disemboweled. That'd be fun. It's like, no. Yeah, Chucky, I hear you. Because some people do. And I'm just speaking of my personal taste. I don't pretend that anyone else should adopt what I think. Do what you want. And many people are wildly entertained by them. And I wish I was, but I just get too stressed watching them. No, don't do that. No. But anyway, it's okay. But that is an interesting story. Gargoyles don't come up often. I don't think they turn to stone during the day, that kind of thing. And gargoyles at night, as some of the legends would say. But I don't know. It's very cool. Very cool when these one-off ones happen, and it's a benign sighting. It didn't charge them or attack their car or anything. It just was running. And then it took off, flew. Well, anyway, let's go to the next one. What time is it, by the way? Oof, how long is this one? I think this one's too long. I don't think I can read this one. That's very long. Talking about the Loveland Frogman. So, no, can't do that one. And that's actually the last one that I had pulled up. So we'll just chat. We'll just have a chat here for the last 10 minutes, or I guess it's about 10 minutes left. And that'll go like a blink. Hi, Mercedes. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. You just get here? You're late. It's fine. It's okay. Love a good creature feature. Yeah, we always have creatures here on the portal, as you know, Chucky. Tomorrow night we're going to dive into the question of the week, which is Chucky's taken care of that for us for a long time. Thank you so much for that. Loveland Frogman is super interesting. Yeah, we'll read that tomorrow, Chucky. So make sure to tune in and you can get that. It's okay, Mercedes. There's no demerits for arriving late. Just glad you came in. Thank you so much. Mercedes is a host of her own on the Mercedes Luck Benedict show. And you can find that on YouTube, so check her out. She's been working hard. She's kind of a machine lately. And her husband, Joe, is about one of the most amazingly talented metalworkers, artists. He's an artist, but he works with metals, and the man fabricates just things you wouldn't believe. He's just so talented. Just incredibly talented couple of people. So, but what else tomorrow? I don't think anything else is up. I may have Jim with me tomorrow. Hopefully Jim is available. Yeah, he is awesome. Yep. Another great show as always. Thank you, David. Good to see you. I just should have done shout outs. I guess I can do shout outs right now. Guys want some shout outs? I can shout you out. Let me pull up the thing and we'll do a shout out. If you want a shout out, just say something in the chat so I can see it. And that way it'll populate my list. So I'll give you about a minute. We'll do shout outs. So don't leave yet because, by God, shout outs are happening. This is your moment. Hear your name. I'm going to pop this out. That's just not big enough. I got to make it a little bigger. Pop out the chat over here. I can't do it in my normal chat anymore. On screen. Got it. Thank you. Let's go to participants. See who's here. Ooh, the list got a lot longer from when I glimpsed it. Aussie Tiger's here. How you doing, Aussie Tiger? Barbara Mora's here. Chucky Danger's here. David Zeismer's here. Eden Nass. How you doing, Eden? Thanks for coming in, checking out the show. That's wonderful. Nice to meet you. Elaine Clifford is here. Jason G is here. John Labella's here. Oh, somebody popped in. Digger Dog popped in. Good to see you, Digger Dog. Julia. Wait, did I see? Oh, John Labella. Jason G, John Labella, John Temprin. Hello, guys. Thank you. Good to see you guys. Karen Alberding is here. Maggie is here. Mercedes is here. She's got a really long name. Misfire Jack is here. I'm here. RJ Windwalker. Rachel gets it right. Good to see you guys. Always. Ruthie Castro. How you doing, Ruthie? And Wizard Moon. Well, thank you all for being here. Did I miss anyone? Did I? I think I got everybody. That's chatting anyway. There's more of you there out there lurking, and that's fine. You guys can just kick back and relax and listen to the subtle nuance of my scratchy voice. I'm here. Move along. Thank you, Digger Dog. Glad you're here. Good to see you guys. Button 68. Great to see you. That's a new name. Welcome to the show. Hope you like it. And we do these live shows Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So anytime you guys want to pop in, we'd love to see you. Could become part of the family too. And don't forget the Discord, guys. We got the Discord. It's at discord.gg/paranormal portal. Special thanks to K-Love for that. We started the Discord, but she just boosted it until we got all the features. So God bless her. And thank you all for all the love and support. What do we listen? I didn't miss anybody else. Okay, good. Let me restore that and move it back out of the way. Okay. I think I got everybody that's here on the chat. And anything else coming up? Well, again, got a couple of every show that I do on the podcast, I really think they are good episodes and good interviews. I got to ask you guys, how is the sound of my voice? Is it loud enough? Are you hearing it okay? And I've looked back on the YouTube, I got some comments. People like, God, you got to turn up your volume. I can't listen. I can't hear it. I got my volume jacked. So is my volume loud enough that you guys are hearing it? Does it match the music, or is it, the music loud and my voice is soft? Let me know if you would, please, in the chat. It's fine. Ruthie says, sounds good. Such a great voice. Oh, thank you, Maggie. Thank you. Thank you, David. Hit the like. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I haven't seen K-Love in a while either. I'm not sure what's going on, but I hope, I'm sure she's fine. But we miss her. Sounds good. Yeah, it's louder today. Good. Okay. Yeah, because they were right. I did look in some of the settings on my production software, and after an update, it did reset the sound bar down, and I hadn't realized that, so they were right. It was very quiet, and I feel bad because there's nothing I can do in post on YouTube. It's just there, so it's just going to be low volume. But thank you guys for the feedback. I can't remember what it sounds like. What sounds like? You sound fine to me. Thank you, David. Okay. Sounds good, Brent. At the start, it seemed a little quiet. You're right, because at the start was where I realized I was looking at my meter here, and I was like, oh, that's way soft. I gotta pump that up. Okay. So sing for us, Brent. If I could save time in a bottle, the first thing that I'd like to do is to save every day. That's a good song. Anyway, that's as much singing as I'm going to do. But I sing in some of the music that you guys hear in the shows. So anyway, that's as much singing voice as I have tonight. So anyway, how are we doing for time here? Got to watch it. We got 3 minutes left. What can we do in 3 minutes, folks? Oh, I should say, I do apologize. We didn't do any giveaways in January. Obviously, my health was a big issue, and it's been a process for me. So I do apologize about that. We will start doing the giveaways again this month, and so I will announce when that's going to happen. But just, you know, my sincere apologies. It's not that I wanted to not give away anything. It's just I just wasn't up to doing anything much, you know. And I'm just finally getting my feet under me. And it sounds like, well, you're kind of kind of a noodle, aren't you? But I really was very sick, very, very sick. And, you know, it was a long way back for me. And I guess that's partially just getting older. It just takes longer for me to bounce back. But yeah, I am feeling so much better now. Thank you. And thank you, David Barnes. Appreciate that compliment. I do. You're a beautiful songwriter yourself, brother. But you know, I finally got my feet getting under me now. I'm starting to get productive. So we'll start the giveaways again this month in February. I will let you know. We do a giveaway for our Discord community, and then we do a giveaway for our YouTube members. If you're a member of YouTube, we do the giveaways for you guys. And, I look forward to doing that. So it's just another way to say thank you guys for helping to support the show. And thank you all for helping to support the show. I don't mean to just, pat certain communities on the back and not all. Maybe the next t-shirt giveaway will, be, I don't know, maybe I'll throw in one for the regular YouTube chatters and watchers as well, because, I don't like to leave out any part of the community if I can. It's just, I don't have unlimited resources, unfortunately. I wish I did. I really do. 'Cause I'd be doing some crazy stuff for you guys if I could, but we're just not there yet. So I'm just a meager man trying to make this all work. So, but any support you guys can give us, if you can share some of these episodes on your social media, if you can, continue to like and comment on the streams if you're watching them when they're not live, that would be wonderful. That all works as to help the YouTube algorithm promote the show, but it's based on interaction. How many people watch it? How many people are interacting with it by version of like or dislike even counts as interaction. And how many people are commenting. So sometimes we get a lot of comments, sometimes not as much. So it's a Brent G party. Was that like Kenny G? No. Hell no. So anyway,
this is iHeartRadio.
End of
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio makes you want to.
Let me disconnect
When you have
that
a great
quick.
melody, song is right.
Instantly connected.
Oh,
I
that
love it
should've
when the beat goes.
disconnected.
Even though you can listen.
There we go. Got that disconnected. Sorry about that. That was the TFR coming back after the show. So I guess that's wrapping it all up, but I'll see you guys tomorrow night. If you're here, I'd love to have you join me, and we'll get back at it again for another 2-hour show. Again, remember, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. We'll talk to you all soon. And sweet dreams. Good night. That's it. That's all I got. Until next time.